So I went out and toured Malibu because I realized we're right about the 6-month anniversary of destruction, and nothing is going on over there. They cleared all the sites, have been cleared of debris.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's something I didn't really think about that people need to kind of think about. And I think we married some of the visual stuff to my prediction from my hotel room the day after, the morning after. But in Malibu, when you're along PCH, when you're along the ocean.
I was there this weekend too.
They were.
Yep.
Clearing the debris, so to speak, is one part of the job, and it's fairly easy and simple. The tough part that they haven't even touched is the foundation.
I know.
All of those pylons going down into the earth and the caissons and the grade beams and the footings. I mean, some of that stuff looks like a bunker.
And it's all that's left.
It's all that's left,
driving.
But clearing out the burnt out stucco and 2x4s and redwood fencing is pretty lightweight. Getting that stuff out of the ground, which is still there, is a completely different situation.
Yep.
I mean, that's like bunker buster type material to get some of that stuff cleaned
We'll
up.
get some U.S. bombers to come in.
Trump says he's calling a strike on Karen Bass. And so I said to my guys, I said, look, I went there and filmed before they cleared the place out. And I said, let's go back and see where they're at in 6 months, which is now. And we filmed again. And I said, marry that footage to me in my hotel room the following morning after I was displaced from Malibu and my predictions. It's about 4 minutes. But it went a little bit viral. The following morning after the fire, I left at, 8 or 9 at night the night before, checked into a hotel in Burbank. The power was out. It's interesting. Kids, if you're listening, I get displaced sort of in the middle of the night and pack up whatever socks and underpants I can put under my arm and go to a bad hotel in Burbank and check in.
Because what people that don't live here don't realize is Malibu is like this long stretch along the coast, and there's very few like canyon roads that go through. And other friends that were displaced from Palisades, Altatina, and Malibu, there were no hotels in a certain vicinity.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of lucky that you could even get one 35 miles away in Burbank.
Yeah. And so the following morning, the winds were so gusty that when I woke up the following morning, I was told that the power was out in Burbank, or I should say in Glendale, where my studio is. So now it's the morning of after, and there is no power in this building that we broadcast from. So I sort of went, well, just run a best of or something. the power's out. I got displaced. There's no studio.
There's a lot going on.
And just find me interviewing Bryan Cranston or something. Just play that. People understand. But then I thought, I don't know. It's a little bit of a moment. And I guess people would be listening from parts of the country or the world. Maybe they'd want to know my bird's eye view of what happened since I was there. So
that's not a bird's eye view. That's like a in the weeds,
I should say,
view and like emotional experience.
You're right. Sure. You're right. Even though I don't get emotional, but you're right. It's not a bird's eye view. It's it's a boots on the ground kind of view.
Yeah.
So I think we hit up Dawson and told him get a mic and bring it over and hook it up, and we'll just take a iPhone and put it on a tripod, and I was literally in my hotel room in Burbank. I just pulled the table over and pushed a sofa and got a chair and just sat it down. And I just went on a, solo soliloquy, probably lasted 45 or 50 minutes. And it ended up going viral just because it was authentic and you could tell I was not in a studio and I was speaking the truth. But anyway, my predictions 6 months ago, which was literally about 10 hours after the fire. Here's my California Malibu Palisades recovery permit prediction, and we'll marry it to the drone footage of what's not going on over there. You will not see any new construction, is what I'm saying.
The comedy is the guys who lost their $20 million homes on the ocean side of PCH will be knee-deep in the permit process. They will be trying to pull permits when the guys in the Winnebagos will have been back for months.
Homeless.
Months before those guys ever get a permit. As a matter of fact, good fucking luck. Because here's the deal. Alan Hamill and Suzanne Summers moved because they could not get a permit to rebuild their home of 40 years on the ocean on PCH, right? So here's what's going to happen. Let me just give you guys a little primer of what's going to happen. You know how Bill Maher seems real conservative now when he's like arguing with Jane Fonda about regulations, too many regulations, like strangling everything? Because remember, when Bill Maher tried to put solar in his house in Beverly Hills, that's when he turned against the government. Because he saw what the government and the overreach of government and overregulation does. He got strangled. It took him 3 years to build a solar shack. He had a whole countdown on his show, you know, day 1,000 since I've got my permit for my solar. He turned. Okay. The people who live in Malibu, who live in Santa Monica, who live in the Palisades, those are some of the most progressive blue voters in the world, or in the United States. They are a bastion of blue. So what those guys did is all the people in the Palisades, I checked it out. It's about 80% blue, 80% progressive, 80% Democrat. Now, these pussies are all sitting around crying about Karen Bass, water pressure, how come the forest wasn't cleared of all the brush, what's happening with the infrastructure. You guys all voted for Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. You all voted for Gavin Newsom. And now you fucking get what you get. Oh, now that your house is on fire, well, now you're thinking about something else. Now you want to know what's going on. What's going on around here? You didn't give a shit about what was going on when other people's houses were on fire, but now you care. So here's what's going to happen. All these people who are deep blue Democrats are now going to have to pull a permit to rebuild. And they're going to get the 28-year-old bitch from the Coastal Commission telling them to go fuck off. And then they're going to vote for Trump or whoever's Trumpian next. You see, they're going to get turned. They're going to get turned hard because, as I've always said, live in the rent control apartment in Santa Monica, fine, good. We know how you vote. Go deal with the city. Try to pull a permit. These are going to be thousands of homes, super wealthy people, and these people don't want to live in Van Nuys. They like it where they are. They love Malibu. They love the Palisades. They love Santa Monica. There's going to be a whole bunch of rich people, and they're going to go, I'm rebuilding, and I want to rebuild as fast as I can. And between the part where they go in to planning commission and plan check and initially try to pull a permit to the time the first load of lumber, the first load of 2x4s is dropped off on their lot where their house formerly stood, it's going to be 3 years. And 1,000 permits and 1,000 arguments and 1,000 discussions with the Coastal Commission. When they start getting the regulation, they're going to go nuts. And when they start running into the bureaucracy and the red tape, they're going to start going nuts, and they're going to vote for Rick Caruso next time because they want to get. That's all Trump says is we're going to pull back the regulations. We're going to free people up. They're going to find out. They're going to get bit by their own snake. They're going to convert. I am telling you, these are the bluest people on the planet, and they're going to be fucking rip shit pissed when the city and the Coastal Commission tell them to fuck off. And by the way, I don't think the Coastal Commission is going to okay anyone rebuilding any of their houses on the coast because they say they're in the business of protecting the coast. They're in the business of getting you to leave. They will get their wish which is no buildings. And they're going to make it hard for everyone. And then we're going to have to restructure the whole thing because we can't have 9 angry lesbians controlling everything that goes on in Malibu, the Palisades, and Santa Monica.
All right. So 6 months in, 0 building
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
0.